Sup everyone, welcome to the last stream. Sounds quite dramatic, doesn't it? The last stream of 3.5, but it is. Believe it or not, we made it past 3.5, arguably the slowest patch of that's available in 3.0 series, right? Since 3.0 started. It's always been sunshine and rainbow until now. 3.6 is arguably more exciting, a little more stuff here and there, right? I believe we got 2 more bosses. I believe we got artifact sets, we got new characters, right? Baiju, fairly anticipated one at that. So things seems to be looking up. Hopefully things are looking up, right? And then of course 3.7, 3.8, and hopefully no 3.9, and we go straight to 4.0, right? That's the dream. That's what we hope for. So welcome to another stream. This one is really going to be talking about the old versus the new. What does that mean? I'm really specifically just talking about the old characters versus the new characters, the old playstyle versus the new playstyle, and how HoYoverse has balanced the two, and likely how I think going forward they're going to continue balancing these two things. Because there's one thing that HoYoverse has to consider that we, the players, really don't have to give a crap about, is how to retain old players while inviting in new players. For the old players, as you build up your account, you want more exciting things to do, you want more places to explore, you want more compositions to expand out towards. Whereas newer players just wants to, I mean, I'm speaking generally, all right? Not all new players want this, but new players generally just want to feel included. They don't want to feel like they're left behind in the dust all the time. They don't want to feel like they have to chase people. They just want to feel like they already belong, right? Nobody wants to get into a community just so they can spend like years adapting and fitting in, catching up, essentially. Basically, I'm saying catching up, right? So nobody likes playing catch up. It's very awkward. It's extremely tiring, and it kind of ruins the experience for you, right? It's just no fun. Let's put it at that. So how does HoYoverse balance this? Well, it all starts with, believe it or not, surprise, surprise, the combat. The reaction system is a great way because it's a gateway into dealing damage in Genshin Impact. Now I say it's a gateway because reaction is like the most vanilla way you can do damage in this game. There are a ton of other ways you can do damage in Genshin and clear content and stuff. I'm not going to get into each and every one of them because you know, it's actually pretty crazy how creative some people can be when it comes to dishing out damage. But if you want to be just a very normal Genshin player, just play most reaction teams, right? Any reaction teams nowadays are capable of completely dominating the Spiral Abyss as long as you know a thing or two about what they're actually capable of doing. So how, in the case of HoYoverse, do they excite older players while making new players feel welcome? That's the question really we have to answer, and to answer that we have to take a look at Dendro, right? And this is no surprise, Dendro is currently the most free-to-play element in the game. I've never really delved fully into detail about like the business aspect of this decision. I've mentioned it multiple times. I'm sure you guys remember, right? I've mentioned this on multiple occasions, like how Dendro is so free-to-play friendly. Why is it so free-to-play friendly? Why is it so easy to build? And when it comes to building a team or building an account from the ground up, if you want to be efficient, why Dendro is by far the best option. And I'm talking by far, like far. You are so far out. If you're on the horizon, I can't even see your ship anymore. It is that much better because the biggest constraint of a new player is resin, and this constraint can really not be bypassed. Even whales, think about it like this: even if you are like Bill Gates or like Elon Musk or some tech billionaire and you can spend your entire life savings into Genshin Impact, there is a hard wall you are incapable of passing, and that is the resin cap. You can refresh up to 5 times per day, and that's it, plus your daily resin. Like you can't even buy unlimited fragile resin. This single hard cap sometimes can kill the entire vibe for players. Think about it like this: if Dendro didn't exist and we're still reliant on the old system, whereas let me just name one, right? In National, right? Because resin constraint is just one of the many things that are keeping newer players gated. I'll talk about the others later, but the main thing with resin is time. Without time, you cannot bypass this problem. So Hoyover's clever solution is, okay, we're still going to keep the resin thing a thing, right? We're going to keep the resin thing existing, and but we're going to give newer players like power in different areas, right? Power that old players never had, and that's the power of starting the game freaking 3 years later than than when it originally started, especially with and the option to build Dendro. So building Dendro basically alleviates, I would say, thousands of resin, thousands and thousands of resins. And if you want to do the math, sure, go ahead, but I'm willing to bet it can save you potentially months of grinding for useless and obsolete teams. If you started way back in patch 1.0, unless you heavily invested into Tartaglia International, what other team is still alive back from the first 2-3 patches, right? Hu Tao is still alive, although if you pulled Albedo for Hu Tao, he's kind of not the best in slot anymore. And building up Hu Tao, farming her artifacts, there's a good chance most of you guys started out farming what the pyro, I don't even remember the name, the pyro domain. How much resin did you dump? Don't lie. How much resin did you dump into that domain, right? How many lava walker sets are just chilling, or you used it for the strong box? Don't lie to me. I know you. Right? If you started in patch 1.0 and you've built Hu Tao, you probably spend an unholy amount of resin on that godforsaken domain. And it's just insane how much resources, if you think about it, that old players have dumped into obsolete things. And I'm not complaining. I'm saying that's good. That's good. This is a great thing for new players, that you don't have to go through this process, because if you did, I don't know, man. If you did and you're still here, you're an absolute champ, because the game has changed very much. Even the very essence of character design has changed. How constellations flow together in characters' kits, right? How essential their free-to-play, how essential their weapons are. Back in the day, weapons were an option. You didn't have to get weapons for most of the characters. I mean, nowadays you still don't. But remember Zhongli's spear? Remember Zhongli's spear? How many Zhonglis actually use that spear? That's what I'm talking about. Nowadays, if you get the weapon, you know the weapon is very likely the best in slot option. Back then, you could have, and this is again resources, you could have poured a lot of resources into a character's weapon that you really enjoyed and liked, but it was dog shit. It was dog shit. It was absolutely useless. Case in point with Zhongli's weapon. I still have that thing sitting in my inbox, right? And again, I'm reiterating, resources. The amount of resources that has went right into the gutter cannot be stressed enough, right? Yes. Warpaint says Vortex Vanquisher, and then the Homa came out. Exactly. You had weapons like the Vortex Vanquisher, and then you have weapons like the Staff of Homa. Right? People just couldn't catch a break. You just spent your life savings getting an R5 like Vortex Vanquisher. There are content creators who have an R5 Vortex Vanquisher. And again, new players never have to go through this problem. And that's really, really good for you guys. I think some of the new players who are starting right now, it's really good that they don't know about this aspect of Genshin, how Hoyoverse used the patch 1.0 players to experiment so many things. They experimented on us on how much we're willing to whale on certain characters, like marketing tactics, right, and all that stuff. They really did. They went hard on us. And I'm not saying, like, again, like, people might want to make it sound like, oh, Walrus, why are you complaining? I'm not complaining. I'm saying these are all the good things. Oh, let me see. Marcus Bullock says, I wonder will Candace become super useful in Fontaine, just like how Kuki is great in Sumeru. The thing with Candace, okay, with a small tangent talking about Candace, because the gimmick with Candace is kind of like Beidou, right? It's you have this very unique aspect of her kit that, while yeah, sure, it's unique and different, it's not really needed. And for the vast majority of Genshin content, what has always been important is being efficient, being able to do more than one thing and doing it very, very well. Oftentimes it's raising damage ceilings, right? If you as a character can raise damage ceilings, you're going to be loved, and I mean loved, by the player base. If your character is the coolest character in the world, like just the best looking design, has the best lore and everything, but when it comes to playability, it is just not there, I'm sorry, people just won't care. And I'm saying this. Okay, I'm a meta slave. I agree, right? Most of the characters I play are meta driven, and that's because I want to be efficient with my time. Especially since I play a bunch of other games, or at least I want to. So I can't really be spending a bunch of time in Genshin, just trying stuff. So I want to be efficient. But my point here really is that, like, when it comes to Genshin Impact, the path of least resistance, I stand by that rule. It's like the path of least resistance is always going to be the best way for player to get value, because that's essentially what value is. Like Koba and Chichi says, like Dia, exactly like Dia. She's like such a hyped up and anticipated character. People love her design, people loved her like involvement in the lore, but at the end of the day, her banner is one of the worst performing banners, because while yes, people can like that character, they don't need to devote their entire existence to her, right? You can separate those two emotions. You can still love Dia, but you can choose not to pull her, and it hurts. Of course it hurts. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, but she's just not a good character. Vice Farm Gaming says the path of least resistance is with the credit card. True. If you can afford it, that's always the path of least resistance. Always, right? That's always the path of least resistance. But let's just be thankful that this game doesn't pit you against other players, because Hoyoverse could very easily pit you against like Tony too. Right? And you know what's crazy is that not only does it not pit you against other players, it also doesn't even give you a leaderboard. For example, Spiral Abyss, right? Let's say if there was a leaderboard incentive to clearing the Spiral Abyss, so whoever clears it, I don't know, the fastest or something like that, or the first to 36 start or something like that, or a bunch of different leaderboards that encourages people to play more. That could actually translate into money. You guys know that, right? If Hoyoverse decided to do an actual leaderboard, they will make more money because of it. As a result, it's just by adding in a simple leaderboard, because there are very competitive people, and Genshin is a huge game, and it's just inevitable that in these kind of scenarios, there will be that whale, or those whales, or those groups of whales, those leviathans who will battle it out in the depth of the ocean, right? In the depth where the sunlight does not shine, there will be a war waging on beneath the scenes that us planktons right, near the surface just won't ever see. But Hoyoverse will be reaping all that sweet, sweet benefits behind the scenes. But they don't do it. It's crazy to me. Like they are leaving potential millions on the table yet again. Between skins, if they milked us more in skins and milked us more in like these subtle monetary ways, they could make so much more money. So much more money. It's not even funny how much more money they make. Yet they don't do it. Crazy. And think about it like this. Hoyoverse could also very much easily made like newer players play that catch-up game. They could do it. Right? Like we make it sound like, oh, no, this is so generous. They very much could have made Dendro like linked to other elements. Like, oh, Dendro is like the end game element, meaning like you first have to go through and build up your elemental teams, get your Kazuha, like everything built up. They could have designed Dendro to be the ultimate end game composition that people work towards. So then newer players have to come in and build all the old shit, then move their way towards the new stuff. And by the time they get to the new stuff, it's right. They very could have done that. But why don't they do it? It's so like, that's why from time to time I do give Hoyoverse credit, and sometimes people really hate it when I do this, but I give them credit because at certain opportunities when they could have easily decided to milk the daylights out of us, they have chosen the other way. They have chosen to take the path of least resistance, right? They have chosen to let us off the hook, essentially. Be like, no, we're not going to milk them like this. We're not going to be doing that dirty. Like, but is it really like, are we really at the point we have to thank mega billionaire companies that they're not milking us? Yes, we are. You know why? You guys know why? Because out of all the games I've played, Genshin's like the only one that doesn't do it, and it actually scares the crap out of me. It's like, if Genshin is not doing it, there has to be a reason why. Like why aren't you milking? I know it sounds like a dumb question. It's like, oh, why aren't you milking money out of us? No, but it's a legitimate concern. Why aren't you milking money out of us? It bothers the crap out of me. I don't understand it. Am I weird? I mean, aren't you guys at the very least a little bit curious? Why does Hoyoverse choose the other option? I'm curious. The HGK said they wouldn't be able to get away with it. I mean, look at the anniversary. Have you ever seen another gacha game? This is also a first that I've never seen a company dare to do this. Is like, screw the anniversary ups to the point where like it's practically just a middle finger in your face at this point. It is pretty much just like a giant middle finger in your face. And then like on the opposite side, they're like saints. It's like, oh, you know, we're gonna make Dendro very free to play friendly, and we're not gonna milk you on skins and create leaderboards to drive competition and sales. Okay. Okay, make up your mind, Hoyoverse. Are you the good guys here or the bad guys here? Because I can't tell anymore. Ning News says Genshin needs to introduce viable burst animations to change it up so you can have different combination of burst combinations. Like, oh my goodness, please no. You're giving them too many good ideas. You're giving them way too many good ideas. But then again, case in point is really just they can monetize things a lot easier, right? There's so many more creative ways they can be monetizing stuff. And in some cases, for example, the skins, I'm sure there's a lot of free-to-play players like, oh, you know, like I can rock with the new Genshin skin. Like, I don't mind that. I can save up for it over time or something like. Actually, wait a minute. Free-to-plays, wait, can free-to-plays get skins? They cannot, right? Like pure free-to-plays. There's no way for you to get. Yeah, I don't think free-to-plays can ever get skins. Yeah, because they can't ever get the Genesis crystals. There's no way to get the Genesis crystals, correct? I think I'm right in that. HoYoVerse, what they're thinking will forever elude me. Truly it will. I will forever be just lost in the dark when it comes to certain aspect of their businesses. And now let's talk about the new stuff, right? Because moving onwards towards Fontaine, has HoYoVerse shown their entire hand? Because honestly, I feel like when it comes to developing Hydro, they have to get very creative, like more creative than they've ever been in the past. Another Yelan won't really do anymore, right? Another Yelan-like character just won't really get people excited anymore. Another character like Kokomi doesn't really work. Hydro on-field characters, we got Ayato, we got Tartaglia. They're very, very strong, solid characters. We even have really niche characters like Nilu. Honestly, when it comes to Hydro, I feel like HoYoVerse has shown a lot of their hand. If you guys feel the same with me in regards to this. More good Hydro 4 stars, please. Yeah, they could. I mean, I guess yeah, they could go the free to play route if they want to, which I mean, I'm sure they can come up with something. I'm not like saying, oh, it's impossible. They've completely depleted the Hydro repertoire, but something exciting, something that gets me like, oh, I want that character, or something like, oh, you know, that's a good character. I wish, you know, I wish we had something like that. What are your thoughts? Right, like I'm gonna open this up to chat. Like, what are your thoughts when it comes to HoYoVerse and what they have to offer here? Jones, I need a second Hydro unit outside Xingqiu. You mean like as a 4-star? Like another 4-star Xingqiu? Interesting. But that's like really, 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 I mean, that's really holding on to the niche. Because they already have Yelan, they already have Xingqiu, and then building another 4-star that's pretty much exactly like Xingqiu. I guess we just all have our different preferences. I've been thinking of characters maybe a little more akin to I wanna like, I don't know if this makes sense, but I want Tartaglia's melee form as like another character. I really like Tartaglia's melee playstyle, but I don't like how it's limited. But I understand that if it weren't limited, the amount of damage it's outputting is kind of broken. Shane Dobin says, water has incredible power to move things. We should have a great CC Hydro unit. That could be good. Yeah, that could be good. A Hydro CC unit would be good. considering how potent it is as a reaction, Hydro CC could be really good. Let the Cryo Archon be able to freeze bosses. Oh, Cryo Archon. We're talking that far ahead. I'm talking Fontaine. Vanessa's U says, Walrus, we still don't have Hydro Shielder, HP buffer, and CC. HP buffer. I remember talking about Focalord likely being potential, like having potential to buff your HP, and buff your HP essentially is like, and I said it's very important how we distinguish like the details of buffing HP. If you're buffing someone's HP, is it a flat value or a percentage value? If it's a percentage value, it's incredibly strong. And also, when you buff their HP, do they get the additional buffed HP? Right? So for example, if my Kazuha's HP increased by 50% right now, right this very moment, let's just say right now he has 20,000 HP. If he increases it by 50%, he has 30,000 HP. Is his HP now 20,000 out of 30,000, or is it 30,000 out of 30,000? Do you get what I mean? Essentially, it could mean that not only is it buffed, you also healed that extra 10,000 health. That could be like stupidly broken. Ken watches. We already have that Yelan C4. Oh, is that what her C4 does? I don't even remember. I don't even remember what Yelan C4 does. Bait and switch. Increase all parties' max HP by 10% for every 25 seconds for every opponent marked by. And I when the a max HP because of 40% max HP can be attained at this time. Wait, so when Yelan does this and you get the max HP, do you get the do you know what I mean? Do you get the additional HP? Or is, let's say if you are 1,000 health, max HP, and then you got the extra 40%, you're now at 1,400. Are you 1,000 out of 1,400, or are you 1,400 out of 1,400? Big difference, right? It could mean the difference between needing to bring out a healer and wasting precious seconds to get that to actually get that HP. So it doesn't heal you. So you just you look like you've lost health, but actually it's because your max health has increased. So if that's the case, then I think it's not. I mean, it's good because I feel like it goes into the scaling, does it not? If your max HP increases in this manner, doesn't Yelan scale off of HP? Her attack scale off of HP, blah blah blah, right? So this is essentially a damage buff, right? So at max, you can get, as long as you mark 4 enemies with your elemental skill, you get that 40% max HP buff. That's a huge bonus damage wise, right? It heavy buffs Hu Tao too. Yeah. So in the case of Hu Tao, this is good because it increases your max HP, but it doesn't actually give you that HP, right? So then it doesn't interfere with Hu Tao's thing. That's great. Yeah, like we basically need a stronger HP buffer than Yelan's C4, basically. That was a great example, because now we can say like, yeah, we just need somebody stronger, more potent than that in their base kit, functioning as an HP buffer. Could be great. There's more and more HP buffers now. I mean, there's more and more HP scaling units now, which just makes that far more valuable than previously. Soran Ibrahim says, what if Hydro Archon is less reliant on crit stats to do damage, something like HP increases? Yeah, I think it's time for Hoyoverse to consider shifting somewhat away from these traditional attack, HP and all that stuff, and just straight up jump the gun from, like, they could do it with Kazuha has it, Raiden Shogun has it, but it's in their talents, right? So you guys look, Upon triggering a swirl reaction, Kazu will grant all party members a 0.04 elemental damage bonus to the element absorbed by swirl for every point of elemental mastery he has for 8 seconds. So it's like stuff like this, right? There are some other characters, I'm sure they have it as well. Raiden Shogun has it where here. Each 1% above 100% energy recharge that Raiden Shogun possesses grant her 0.6% greater energy recharge from Muso Ishin and 0.4% electric damage. So this kind of stuff is incredibly creative for Hoyo. Oh, Kiari, welcome my friend to the Bronze Tusk gang. It's been a while. I usually don't promote my what's this channel memberships, but yeah, always appreciate it if you guys want to show the support, like go the extra distance for the support. Membership's the best thing. Thank you so much and welcome. Hope you enjoy your stay. So yeah, in the future, I think we'll see more characters that have these aspects in their kit. And I think this is where it will be and not anywhere else. It'll be one of their talents where who was it? I think Ibrahim's was saying I need to find the HP increases crit rate and crit damage, right? So oftentimes you'll find this kind of stuff here. Crit rate, crit damage won't really be found in talents, but more so you'll find them nowadays in constellations such as Nahida C2, right? We've talked about this in previous streams. However, this is a very convoluted way of saying like it's roughly a 20% damage bonus. Roughly. I know the math doesn't really quite line up that way. It doesn't really work that way. But if you give it a long enough period of time, you're basically dealing 20% damage bonus. Because 20% of the time you double your damage. It's a weird thing to wrap your head around. But that's how I interpret it. Basically, you're dealing an additional 20% damage, right? Even though what it really says is 20% of the time, a fifth of the time you're playing this reaction, you're gonna double your damage. So I don't know why it's like this, but whatever. I'm not gonna tunnel vision on that. But yeah, Folklore could very much have a conversation that says when she buffs a character's HP, for every like amount of HP that she has, you gain an additional XYZ, right? It makes sense, like crit or damage bonus, elemental damage, or something else, right? Whatever niche they want to make Folklore, because if we want to get to the bottom of this, we first have to understand Folklore's niche. Because all the Archons have a niche. Nahida is EM, buffing EM, right? So basically raising your damage ceiling. We also have Raiden, who is an energy, like a universal battery. Zhongli's the best shielder. Venti has the best CC. What is Folklore? Right? Like, if we don't understand what Folklore is intended to be, then it's very difficult to make assumptions about her kit and whatnot. So what is Folklore supposed to be? Right, let's think about this. She is what about? I remember she was all about like justice or something like that. Cooldown reduction. I don't think cooldown reduction is good enough to be Archon worthy. Right? Cooldown reduction, I feel like, is just a little lacking in terms of its actual value. Because what I've found when I play this game is that oftentimes I won't even have enough time to cycle through all my characters before going back to my main dude. Raiden C6 also, yeah, Raiden C6 also reduces cooldown, so that there's another clash right there. So you see, it's a very tricky thing. And also, she could be an HP buffer, but there usually is a little more. For example, Raiden is a battery, right? But she also she also at C6 or at C2 she turns into a hyper carry. At C6 she also does more things. So there's like stages to this stuff as well. And nowadays Archon C2s are far more eye-catching than their C6s. So think about it like this. We first have to try to figure out what Folklore's base is. What's her theme? What's her pull value, I guess? Like, what's the gimmick? Then we got to work on her C2. So what's her C2 gonna be? And then we can work on her C6, right? Which, how transformative does she become? HP, like being an HP buffer could be good, like, but that's also gonna take time to fully realize, right? Currently, Bennett is still the best in the game as a buffer because there's just we don't have like we still like attack is still the predominant scaling in terms of offensive characters, offensive units, and even characters that are not like fully scaling off of attack, the attack still does benefit them somewhat. Do we really have enough Hydro characters in the game right now to justify us getting an HP buffer? JM watches, but here's for attack. His buff is useless for HP and defense. So I guess like for characters, let's see. HP scaling characters. So this is an attack scaler, which doesn't even run Bennett. This is attack scaling, I believe EM scaling, EM attack. So this is our first HP scaler. So that means you guys are saying Folklore is gonna be a part of Hu Tao teams if Folklore is an HP buffer, right? So we replace, I would say Xingqiu. Honestly, I would say replace Xingqiu in this team. Put Xingqiu back to the what's the team called? National teams. I think Xingqiu really likes it in the national teams. Put Xingqiu back in national, replace, and then put Folklore in the Hu Tao team. Huge bonuses. Attack scaling, defense scaling, attack scaling, attack scaling. Nowadays, I think Yamiko's built what more EM, right? EM or attack. So another attack scaler, attack. This is our second HP scaling character. Which definitely having her Hydro Resonance, like Hydro Resonance already buffs HP, and then having another HP buffer on top of that, it's just nuts, first and foremost. And Yelan certainly will benefit from it. And then attack buffer, I don't even know. Attack, defense, attack, I believe, EM. Is this EM as well? EM, I believe as well. Energy recharge, was it? I remember Mona was built energy recharge. Defense, attack, HP. Characters like Diona are HP scaling, so don't get it twisted. Right? I believe she's HP scaling. Attack. What is it, like EM again? EM HP. Wait, she's HP. Yayo is HP. Is she not? Am I crazy? She's HP, right? Yeah, Yayo is HP. There's like what, like 5 characters so far that's HP, and then we got Xingqiu, which scales off of attack, but doesn't his Hydro Sword scale off of HP or something like that? It's let me see. Wait a minute. 20% of Xingqiu's hydro damage bonus will be converted to additional. So, oh, it's a weird scaling. What is Thomas supposed to be like? I think even nowadays people are running what, EM or something like that. We got defense. Pretty sure he's defense. EM, attack, EM, I believe attack, EM, attack. I believe attack. EM, attack. My point is, okay, listen, chat. There's more EM scaling characters than there are HP scaling. There's like 5 HP scaling characters, and 2 of them are like 4 stars that people don't really care that much about. So I think my point has been proven, which is basically like we don't have enough HP scaling characters. You forgot Dia? Who? Who's Dia? Baizhu, yeah, Baizhu will be an HP scaling character. So Genshin says Dia, Nilou, Layla, Baizhu are HP. Zhongli is HP as well. So here it's Hu Tao, Zhongli, Baizhu, Nilou, Yelan, Dia, right? These are like the 5 stars. These are the 5 stars, I believe. Did I miss anybody? These are the 6 5-stars that scale off of HP. Kokomi, 7. Yeah, Kokomi. So there are 7 characters that scale off of HP that are 5 stars that most people care about. Right? Okay, if these 7 characters plus, let's say, throughout Fontaine, I think the Hydro Archon is going to scale off of EM, right? So let's just go off of that. Let's just assume that and say, okay, the Hydro Archon scaled off of EM. So if we go off of that, that would mean that we have 8. So if we just give us 2 more characters that scale off of EM, just 2 more, then we can potentially have 10 characters, all 5 stars that scale off of EM, which heavily desire EM buffing. Right? I'm just saying. Ten characters would be enough. 5 stars. And those are 5 stars. I'm not talking about the 4 stars. So including the 4 star, you would probably have a roster of maybe 14 characters that all scale off of HP. And who knows, maybe Fontaine will be just like how Sumeru released, like, I don't know, a ton of EM focus. I even lost count. It was like they're all EM scaling characters, right? Just like how Sumeru focused on that, maybe Fontaine will pretty much strictly focus on HP scaling characters to sell the Hydro Archon, right? So we can easily look at potentially 20 HP. So then, yeah, I guess in that sense, then the Hydro Archon can be more so justified. but I still feel like the Hydro Archon still would be a more luxurious unit. Just because like I don't see HP ever really overtaking attack. I think the point is to have them all equal. They should all be on the same level. Like that's HoYoverse's end goals. Like how do we get all these different things to equalize? Cryo characters should be just as good as Prio, should be just as good as Hydro, Electro, Dendro, Geo, and Nemo, right? That's the end goal of their balance. That's what balancing really entails. Hydro Archon will scale off HP, not EM. EM is already used by 2 Archons, Venti, and Nahida. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like HP will be her gimmick. She could potentially buff HP. She can be as straightforward as like buff your character's damage by their HP if HoYoverse wants to do that. Because think about it like this: if she just takes your HP, like first she buffs your HP, then she buffs your damage based off of the max HP you have, then even attack characters can have her. Think about it, because double Hydro on teams can already buff your HP, and if she buffs your HP, then she buffs your damage scaling based off of your HP. That's a lot of scaling and buffing. I'm just saying that's a lot. Is it enough? I don't know. I think that the better question nowadays is like, how much is enough? Because I'm really hoping to see in Fontaine a different way to, like, different incentive to play the game, to play the game like a complete different way. I don't want to continue bashing my face, like just, oh sorry. I want to continue bashing my face on my keyboard trying to do more damage. It's just not as fun. I want to experience survivability. I want to be pressured by the mobs of the abyss to play survival mode. I don't want to just be like, oh, let's see how fast I can roll my face across the keyboard and kill the enemies, right? Tech the Virus is, why do you use usage rate alone? Usage rate should be divided by ownership rate to determine future proof value. Yeah, but the one that I show you guys in reference already take into account ownership rate. They update you on the ownership rate. So that one already has ownership rate included. Kyobe says that can't happen because Abyss is about killing things fast, which I understand, right? I totally understand the romance of that, like, oh, you know, fast, clear, fast, kill it fast. But I don't know, man. I just like, we've been doing it for how many years now? We're going to year 3. Is it still really that? You know, is that still the most exciting way to engage in Genshin? Like, sure. At this point, I'm positive most people's account are far beyond what they actually need. And I'm talking far beyond. Most people have accounts that are so strong that honestly, I feel like it's overdone for the most part. Having like 6 different teams focused on like 3 different elements with a bunch of different scaling in it. Some even have constellations or 5 weapons. And there just hasn't ever, like, think about it like this. There has never, ever been an incentive in the game for survivability. Never. It's never happened. Maybe HoYoverse thinks that it's a boring way to play the game. Maybe that's how they deem it. But I don't know. I would really want Fontaine. My point is, I would want Fontaine to focus around that. I would want I would want enemies in Fontaine to like, I don't know, like mobs attacking you based off of your like the less health. I don't know. It's like the less health you have, the more damage you do. But that's such a bullshit gimmick. It's not fun, right? Is my point. How can we make it fun and exciting? Is my question. Sarn Dupati says, because survivability equals time and Hoyo wants you to play for shorter. That's true. Actually, you're so right about that. HoYoverse has catered their game to be short and sweet, meaning like you can get in, get out in less than 10 minutes if you want. They never want you to spend more than like 10 minutes doing something in Genshin Impact. On any one aspect of Genshin Impact, my point is. You're so right about that. Detective Virus says usage rate of 70% is worse than ownership rate of 100% than ownership rate of 80%. What do you mean by that? A usage rate of 70% worse for an ownership rate of 100% than own. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, but that's why the website organizes the placements based on their usage rate to their ownage rate. That's why certain anomalies like Shinhe can rank so high, because so few people use her, but so many people of the few people who use it are using her, right? Meaning she's not owned by a lot of people, yet a lot of people are using her. That's why there's value in the data I keep showing you guys. It's because it already takes into account that metric that you're speaking of. So in the future, no, when I reference usage rate, it's always in reference to ownage rate. That's what that's what the list is basing it off of. It'll rank characters higher if less people own them, but they have a high usage rate. Because exactly as you say, when a character that has 100% usage rate and 70% use them, it's not as impressive. It's only 80% of the people use them, and yet still they have a 70% usage rate. Detective Virus says, but the website does not divide usage rate by ownership rate to determine the true value. Yeah, you're right. They don't divide it, but they rank it based off of it. Right? Because usage rate will directly affect usage rate to ownership rate will directly affect the character's placement. So it's not like, so basically they take the ratio of the two, and then the usage percentage is a result of how many people are using this character versus how many people own this character. So I don't know what you mean. And then the percentage, the actual end percentage, is a result of those two numbers. I don't know. Like, are they dividing it multiple? Like, it's they do some sort of correlation with those two, the two numbers, to result at the final owners, the usage percentage. The usage percentage is the final number that is arrived. I think they take the total number of players that owned. Let me see it. What if I bring it up? Maybe it'll be easier. So, so right here, let's use Ganyu. Ganyu appeared. What moment? Let me see. Wait, I haven't never really sat down and worked this out. You guys see this? So if we look at Ganyu, she has a 9th. So this is the time she appeared. This is the number of people that own her, right? So this is the own percentage. This is the number of people that own her. Own percentage, number of people that own her. So how do they get this? Do they not? Isn't it 57,345 divided by? Isn't that how they got 19%? Wait, let me see. 57,345 divided by 9,561. Yes. So if you just divide this by this, then you only get 6%. Right? 57,345 out of 120,000 roughly would be around this number, right? 57,345 divided by 100,000. Yeah, then you roughly get like 48%. So this is divided by 120,000, which is the total number, which gives you this percentage. But this is the amount of time she appeared. So if you just take this and divide it by this, you don't get 16.7%. So the users. Oh, so okay, so this divided by 120,000 is 16. So what you're really saying is this number should be divided by this number, right? Are you saying that? You're saying the ownership number should be divided by this to give a more accurate representation of actual usage rate. So you're saying 57,345 divided by 9561. That would give us a much better accurate, like a true representation of ownership rate to usage rate. I see what you mean. So that Ganyu would rank far, like much lower. Let me just think about how that like what that represents, right? 57,000. But then you wouldn't get a scale of, because you need to get a scale of the 120,000 people, no? Because with 57,000 divided by 57,000 divided by 9,561, you don't have the comparison to the 120,000 total users, because then you wouldn't have any idea how many people are participating in then it becomes like a pure Ganyu statistic, as opposed to there's no like correlation to the others, because the constant 120,000 is shared among every single one of these characters. That's a constant number that ties them all. That's the relevance. Right, I guess we can always say that we understand that there's 120,000 people. I don't know, like losing the 120,000 divided, because every single character would have a different. But we're trying to assess Ganyu statistics. How valuable is Ganyu in this abyss is the question. But if we're looking at that, wouldn't the amount of times Ganyu is used divided by the total number of players be an accurate representation? Because think about it, sure, only 57,345 people owns her, right? And if we're dividing this by 120,000, there's a whole like 40 something thousand people who don't even have the option of using Ganyu, which in your opinion would skew the numbers. We're like, oh, how can you gauge her value if you were asking people who don't even have her? But can we not ask a question that the fact that they don't even have her can already point to the fact of her lack of value? Does that make sense? I think there is value in a number that is divided by the total number of ownership, because the fact that there's 40,000 plus, like 60,000 plus players who don't even own this character means they actively made the decision to skip her, right? Because if we look at a character like Venti has more ownership than Ganyu, right? He has more ownership than Ganyu and less usage rate. So I guess by the metric, this would make Venti much worse of a character. Divided by 4186. Wait, no, this makes Venti. Wait. Wait, no, this makes. Then this makes. Okay, wait. This makes Venti a much better character. Wait, am I doing it wrong? I think I might be doing it wrong. I might be. No. I think this is right. You take this number divided by this. No. It's 4,186 out of 61,595. So the Venti would be. Wait, it is right. It is right. Wait. No. Wait, I did it wrong. Wait. 9561 divided by 57345. It is. This is divided by this. Wait. Chat, just take 9,561 and divide it by this. Wait, so they are doing it like how you're saying, Techie. I just did it wrong because I'm a dumbass. Yeah. If you take 9,561 divided by 57,345, you get this number. You get 16.7%. Because I'm yeah, I'm yeah, Techie, this is exactly what you're talking about. It's just when I first explained it to you, I probably messed up and I did it like this. I said, did it divided by 9,561. I said it like that, which turns out to be 6-something%. But yeah, you're right. This is how they do it. They take this number and they divided it by this number, which ends up at this percentage. So it is exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's because I remembered the person who introduced this to me also mentioned this, and they said they already did. That's when you first asked me just now. It's like, wait, I thought they already did this. That's why I've been referencing this one, because this is actually a very accurate representation. Because when the person, he explained the whole thing, he told me like how everything works, and I was like, okay, and this is this, and he explained all the numbers. Like, okay, cool. So then like I was like, okay, that's very neat, that's very cool. Like this set of data is very, very interesting. Now that I've got this figured out, in the future I'll probably have to go over and explain this to people in the videos. Thankfully I did it in front of you guys and don't have to embarrass myself in a YouTube video. But yeah, that's the gist of it, right? So I think this is one of the best statistical tools we have available to us, with a huge like pool of players, and these players are so freaking try hard. I'm telling you, it could be like 2 days into the new Abyss and the data points are mostly already fixed, like it's already set out. It's crazy how dedicated some of these players are. Emergency Food said, I still don't get it. I'm terrible at math. Okay. So I'm just gonna go over it, and I know for some people who already understand, this might be a little boring, but here's the basic gist of it, okay? If you see this column of numbers, what this Chinese, what it says is the amount of times the character appeared. So what this is basically saying, it's for the 3.5 Abyss usage statistical analysis for the second version. So it's our current Spiral Abyss. Whatever you have in game for Spiral Abyss, this is the stat for it, all right? For CN. They take around 120,000 players and they input their data. So let's just use Ganyu as an example. So what all these numbers mean and how they get all these percentages is This is the number of time that she appeared, that players actually used Ganyu. Okay? This number here is how many people actually own Ganyu. This percentage is saying, is working off of this number and the total number of people who owned, who participated in this study, which is around 120,000. If you take this percentage and apply to this number, you can find out the amount of people who don't own Ganyu. So there's a good chunk of people. So there's like 51.3% of the players who participated in this study don't even have Ganyu. So they can't even use her even if they wanted to. Right? And this number is the correlation between these two numbers, which is what we were discussing earlier, is out of the people who owned Ganyu, how many of them actually use her? Because this metric can tell us the people who own her, how much value does she currently have out of the people who even have an option to use her. So this percentage is based off of how many people used her out of versus how many people owned her. Right, so the correlation between this number is a correlation between is these two, and this number is a correlation between these two, right? So then what we really should just focus on is this percentage at the end here. The most right column is basically you take a quick glance and you look, and that's how they arrive at this tier list. What this tier list basically tells you is, out of the people who owns these characters, right? These are characters who have good ownership to usage rates, meaning they have extremely high value. Most people who own them are using them right now. That's why they're really ranked really high. So according to Techie, this would basically mean that it's a representation of these characters' true value, right? A really bad character would be if a lot of people owns the character, but nobody is using it. So in the case, it could be a very old character that used to be good. So Venti is like, if Venti didn't have such a high ownage rate, he would not be this low, right? If Venti had low ownership rate and the same usage rate, so his usage rate doesn't change, but less people owned him, he would rank much higher, because ratio wise, then, proportionally more people are using her, less people, him, more people using him, and less people own him. But because so many people have Venti, because he used to be so damn good, and so little people are using him, he's ranked so damn low. That's a problem, right? So what this statistically shows is Venti used to be good, and now he's not so good anymore. That's basically how you can interpret this, right? Characters that used to be really good, Eula, right? Eula that used to have like I believe 20% or something like that, fallen from grace 4.2%. However's debated, a lot of people polling for her, and look at where she is now, right? Ito used to be much higher as well. Nowadays he's kind of hovering down here. There hasn't been much things to be excited for in terms of Ito. Zhao used to be a lot higher. Ganyu used to be a lot higher. The only character from Liyue who is still reigning supreme is Hu Tao. Like, I'm not like from Liyue. I mean, the Liyue big three from back in the day, the only one who still performed consistently well is Hu Tao. Yeah, that's what all these numbers mean. So in the future, I'm going to reference this every single time Abyss comes out. We'll revisit the CN stuff and see what they're playing, how they're doing, any major shifts, right? Like stuff like this, like Shinhe getting a huge boost in usage rate. Yeah. So this is her last Abyss usage rate. This is her current Abyss usage rate, and that's the increased percentage. So these data, I'll show it to you guys every single Abyss, because it seems like a lot of people are really interested. So we'll keep this as a series, right? And this is the drop-off rate. This is the usage rate for last Abyss. This is the usage rate for this Abyss, blah, 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 right? All the good stuff, all the data. I know you guys love that stuff. And this website, well, not a website, this app organizes it really, really well for you guys. Okay. Does this take into account number of constellations? Unfortunately not. It just shows pure ownership to usage rate. So we don't know if this is a tallying of whales. We don't know if this is pure free to play. I believe it's a mixture of both. So it's like a decent representation of what you would find like in Yen as well. I mean, for the vast majority of these Abyss stuff, they actually, the list hasn't changed too much. The people who are at the top basically has like an iron grip on the meta space. And I guess that's what I was really trying to hammer home with the future stuff, is that I want this list to shift more. I want there to be other characters. I mean, you guys must feel the same too. You guys can't honestly be thinking, oh, I wish until the server closes, we're always going to be using the same 7-8 characters. We're always going to see those characters at the very top, right? You guys can't be in agreement to that. I'm sure you guys would be like, okay, we want other things to become popular and strong. Right, but like for example, we don't want to make Nahida like Venti, but maybe Nahida doesn't have to be S+ tier all the time. Maybe some abysses she can be S tier, right? Shuffling the top characters between S+ and S+, and S, maybe sometimes even A, but like just these 3 tiers, having them constantly move up and down could keep players who have invested into other viable team comps, give them a chance to shine. Makes it fresh. Yeah, it makes it fresh. It makes it more exciting. And honestly, for HoYoVerse, it's more money because it incentivizes people to invest in more variants than just the same 8 characters. At least that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I think some people don't really like that idea. They would rather just invest into 2-3 teams and the best teams, and then they just constantly use those teams for the Abyss, and then they use a different team for the overworld, right? Their point is, if I wanted to play more variants, if I want more flexible teams, I'll play them in the overworld. Abyss should stay consistent and easy for free-to-plays to anticipate what's coming, so we don't end up burning more gems than necessary. We want to keep our primo gems, like our girlfriends, close to us, not spending them, not sending them out, close to us. Sounds a little possessive, but I'm just saying, look at me. All right, I'm not the best looking dude, so of course I want to keep them close. Same with my primo gems. I don't want to part ways with my primo gems. I don't want to throw them out. It's just I mean, that's a free-to-play mentality, right? Like you how many people here as free-to-plays enjoys parting ways with their primo gems? You spent like months with those primo gems. How long does it take you guys to save up enough gems to guarantee one character? Even if you know you're guaranteeing the character, you're still being like, oh, I hope I get them early. I hope I win my 50-50, right? That's just it's normal for us to think that way. Like, of course, you want to save like 5 months of primo gems, and you want it ideally to get you 2 of the characters you want, even though statistically you have to get a bit lucky, but you still dream. You're like, oh, please let me win the 50-50, get it early. That's the whole point. We hate it. Free-to-plays hate it when they have to spend their primo gems. Frankie said it takes about 3 patches. Yeah, 3 patches of mindlessly grinding these top tier events that HoYoVerse keeps coming out with, right? That's what I'm saying. If you guys are sitting there playing these events day in, day out, every day, keeping up to it and waiting for them to release it, just so you could just go in and talk for 2 hours with a side character until you unlock the event, then play through the event. My god, and you have to do that for like 3-4 patches just to like get one character guaranteed. I swear to god, it's nuts how free-to-plays do it. It's absolutely nuts how free-to-play consistently do it. You guys, like, I've had people say like, Walrus, you know, it's so incredible how you're able to make a video every single day, right? And I don't know how you do it, man. And I'm like, I don't know how you guys play these events day in, day out and play it for 3-4 patches in a row and then pull for your characters and part ways with your primo gems just like that. I couldn't do it. That's like borderline some like war crime right there. They need to put that in the Geneva Conventions or something like that. Is what HoYoVerse is putting the free-to-play players through is like the borderline human. There should be sanctions for what they're doing. Rice Bell Grande says, you just gotta suck it up, Walrus. bro, I ain't sucking shit. Just saying, like, I listen. Memes aside, I really commend the people who can actually, pull through, because to me, coming home, playing these games, like, sure, some of these events are fun, but I would say 70 to 80% of them are just there to suck your time. Like, they exist to suck your time, just to steal your time, right? To farm your playing hours. That's what EroticWalruss is doing. Which is fine. I mean, it's a free-to-play game. I'm not saying, oh, EroticWalruss can't ask for our time. It's a free-to-play game. Obviously, they can, right? But my point is, they can do it a little more creatively. They can do it a little more with a little better engagement. But it's not like I don't know what kind of culture the CM players are living through. So it makes sense that EroticWalruss is making the game so chillax. And obviously, just like I've said in the past, they have other titles in development soon to be released that will cater more to people who want to play more. In fact, I'm working with Honkai Star Rail beta players and gathering data so I can make a video for you guys before that game comes out. That game, I'm telling you guys right now, from everybody that I've spoken to, I don't know if it's a bias or what, but they've all collectively agreed that Honkai Star Rail took the best systems from Genshin and Honkai and turned it into one game. I'm actually very excited to see that, because if they took what's good with Genshin, which is obviously like the polish, the gacha system, because get this, in Honkai, what the fuck is the other Honkai game? Honkai Impact, right? The third, their gacha rate, like the gacha system, is absolutely horrendous. They're saying if they had Genshin's gacha system, it would save the whales like thousands, if not tens of thousands, over the span of the time they play the game. So just get that. So they chose to go with Genshin's gacha system because it's much more player friendly, I guess. It appeases to the masses. Right? So they took the things that players have enjoyed from both of these series and merged it into Honkai Star Rail. So the Honkai Star Rail is going to be like an optimization, like, love child between EroticWalruss. They have taken everything that they've perfected through these two titles and they're putting it into Honkai Star Rail. But Honkai Star Rail's main issue would be, like, in my opinion, the gameplay and developing the lore, make the world like rich and fulfilled, making sure that players are fulfilled. Because I'm telling you guys right now, the players who play turn-based RPG games are not the same as the players who play open world single player RPG games. Turn-based, dude, have you guys seen the meme where like this dude he was like playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and he summoned like these three cards, and then he does the whole Yu-Gi-Moto movements, and it's like he straight up looked like he wanted to banish his opponent into the Shadow Realm. I don't think Genshin players are capable of looking the way that man was looking. So I'm just saying, turn-based games brings out something in us that Genshin just is incapable of doing. So don't think that Honkai Star Rail is going to be the same type of game that Genshin is. Right? It's very likely not. Honkai Star Rail and Genshin have two different teams. Exactly. And I hope that the vision for Honkai Star Rail is a little more catered towards people who want, what do you want me to say? It's what do you want? It's a turn-based RPG players, right? You guys must know some of them. Like they're kind of like card game players almost. I don't think I've ever met a chill turn-based RPG player. They're always so intense. they're always so freaking intense. Pokemon, yeah, like look at a title like Pokemon. Like what the? You guys think Pokemon is a casual baby game? Think again. World Quest takes the most time in Genshin Impact. Agree. And here's a maybe a potentially unpopular opinion, is that some of the world quests has no business being that freaking long. I'm just saying, some of these world quests are far longer than they need to be. Agree or disagree? We do not like. I'm sure some people really appreciates Hoyoverse efforts into the lore space, but I just gotta say, like, I honestly don't think that we need to know the nooks, the fine-tuned details of like Madam Ping's. Okay, Madam Ping is a different story. I'll give it to Madam Ping that I think Madam Ping deserves every bit of extra lore. Damn it, this is so weird, because some side characters I care about and other side characters I don't care about, and it feels bad saying like, oh, Hoyoverse should cater to my personal preference, when maybe some of you guys really, really, really love a certain character's side story quest. But like, personally, maybe I don't. Oh, this is so damn difficult, man. When it comes to these story things, it's just people have different things that they're interested in, right? Yeah. I don't know how they can solve this. Like, can this even be a solved issue? I know, right? Like, exactly. Like, we're all gonna have different biases towards different characters. So it's like, I guess it's unfair for me to even say like, oh, but I don't care about this. Somebody in chat like, but I do. I care. Right? So, like, there's no winning. There's no winning. Too many NPCs. But yeah, you need NPCs to populate the world though. In a game like Genshin, especially a single player game, you really have to do a good job making it feel real. If that makes, like, you need to like convince the player that this is a worthwhile journey, right? If you can convince the player that the story, these people are worth your time and attention, then you can have a much more immersive experience, which actually translate to a much better what you call it, like, at the end of the day, when you recall it, it'll be a very pleasant experience, and you'll be much more likely to try out new titles. Even if Genshin turns out to one day dry up and finish, you likely could be a loyal Hoyoverse customers if you had a good experience with it. And it all starts with making a very, like, not believable, but like making a story that you can tag along with, and you can dive into the world. And ideally, they want you to even disassociate reality from fantasy at times, and really just feel like you're part of the world in the game. Scary to say it out loud, but that's what a good story is. That's why people say like, oh, I feel like I got sucked into the book. It's kind of like that. Hoyoverse is trying to nail that sensation for you guys. Be like, oh, I feel like I was really there, right? You know, next to Zhao, sniffing his hair. I don't know what Zhao mains do. Okay, I'm just saying, right? I was like, Yalan choked me out. It's just interpretations. I'm just saying. Zhao mains always scream lament. Come on, Walrus. JK, did you see the interview of the HSR devs? No, I have not. I've been very focused on the Wuthering Waves news. Holy damn, like, I can't wait for Wuthering Waves. I know a lot of you guys probably aren't like hardcore players. How many of you guys are even interested in Wuthering Waves? In my opinion, Wuthering Waves is like, whew. It's got everything. It's got everything we RPG players can crave for. Goddamn. I think Genshin is perfect to kind of chill and unwind, and Wuthering Waves is like something that you can really sink your teeth into. It feels like that way, right? I think we've all come to peace. I don't think anybody in chat here is still under the disillusion of, oh no, don't, like, Walrus, just you wait. Once Shazaya comes out, then we're gonna get guild features, raid bosses, we're gonna have like more dungeons, like co-op. Like, it's never gonna happen. All right, it's never gonna happen. But I think Wuthering Waves has more potential. The combat system in that game is just absolutely like, oh, it's a chef's kiss. It's beautiful. It's a work of art, right? That's the kind of stuff we've, like, I don't know for girls, but like, I swear the boys at one point have sat in a classroom daydreaming about these crazy combat. Like, remember those stick figure animations back in the day when they used to like fight on walls and stuff, and then they used to like kick each other and like flip and like do like chi blast and like flash behind each other like Dragon Ball Z fights. Literally, as like boys, me and my friends would daydream about those crazy fight sequences. And Wuthering Waves takes that, and not just stick figures out. They are true and tested anime husbandos and waifus duking it out in real time with like cool bosses, cool mechanics. You got like Dragon Ball Z flashes and dashes and like time slowdowns and combo sequences. It's like Tekken meets Genshin meets Dragon Ball. Kind of like that. Can't believe I honestly can't believe there isn't a title that is already currently existing like that. And it took us to the year of 2023, 2024 for a company to look at that and be like, you know what would be cool if we developed that? If that became playable, that would be a cool game. Take the Virus is, how likely is Wuthering Waves putting a dent into Genshin's player base? I mean, every single time a new title comes out, it chips away at Genshin's player base. But do you know what Genshin has done so damn well? I can honestly make a video about this. What has Genshin done so well that makes it so it's borderline impossible to ever challenge their market space? It's the fact that Genshin designed their game to be a side game. You think I'm memeing, right? You think I'm memeing. The fact that they designed their game in this manner made it almost impossible for any other titles to ever compete with them, because it costs almost nothing to play Genshin. Like, what? 2 to 5 minutes a day? Is that a lot to ask for? Genshin specifically designed their game like this, so even if you play three other games, you can still squeeze Genshin in. It is the perfect like a parasite to your maybe I shouldn't say it like that. It's like the perfect coexistence. It's like a symbiote. Isn't that what it's called? It's a symbiote. It's so perfect for consumers. It's designed for busy lifestyles with very little time for video games. That's why you can never kill Genshin. The reason that Genshin has survived through all these iterations, all these games, and people keep coming back, right? It's very simple. It's because Genshin was always designed to just be like a oh, look, it's Genshin Impact. Let me spend 5 minutes of my days, or like I'm on a poop break. I'm just gonna smash out my commissions during my poop break, and you're done. You're done. You're caught up. So like, no other games has been able to compete with Genshin in this manner. Is having a large enough player base, but also having the gameplay be like the most casual thing you can possibly imagine. Designing a game for casual is always better than for hardcore. Yeah, but the problem with designing a game for casuals is you first gotta like build up your player base. Genshin somehow designed a game for casuals, but sold it like it was a hardcore game in the very beginning. If you guys remember in the very beginning, there were so many speculations, news, and stuff like that about like, oh, guild features and stuff, like, which never happened. They also promised housing feature, which did end up happening. There were so many things that was talked about, which till this day still hasn't come true. I'm just saying. Right, and also another big thing about Genshin is the fact that it's like a mobile game which has a PC client. If you guys don't know, there's a game called Punishing Grey Ravens, which is made by the same studio that is currently working on Wuthering Waves. Punishing Great Raven is honestly it's a really cool game, but it suffers from the fact that it doesn't have a PC client. Genshin was able to capture the casual player base by first attracting the hardcore player base, because the casual player base will never promote your game. Don't get me wrong, casuals, you guys are awesome. I think you guys are some of the chillest people I've met, but you guys really don't give a damn if the game succeeds or dies. You'll just move on to the next if it doesn't work out. You really wouldn't cry about it. But hardcore players will lose sleep if their favorite character goes down by like 0.3% usage rate. They will lose sleep over it. Don't ask me why, but they're the ones who actually kickstarted Genshin, right? I'm just saying, the hardcore players are the ones who actually made Genshin into what it is today by constantly talking about it, making content for it, consuming content for it, sharing content for it, memeing about it, going to conventions. Listen, you casuals, you're not getting up and going to conventions. Don't lie to me. You guys are most likely just living life, playing Genshin when you remember to, right? That's casual players. Hardcore players are the ones who will like I don't know, like spend $2,000 on a Ito cosplay or something like that, right? Their hardcores will be cross-dressing, right? Like they'll go to great lengths. They'll go to great lengths to showcase their love for the game. And this type of passion is what made Genshin go from like, oh, that thing to holy crap, how is this thing still so popular to this day? That's the difference, right? So Hoyoverse's success in Genshin Impact has a lot to do with hardcore players. That's why you guys constantly hear hardcore players like you can hear their voices, you can hear them lamenting, like because they had thought that Genshin was going in a different direction, and a lot of them have quit since, right? A lot of hardcore players have quit since. They move on to other titles, or they're waiting for more intense titles. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of them are still around in this community. They still are, and they have come to accept, right? They have come to accept for this for what it is. So yeah. Do I feel bad? Yes, I do. But do I think they maybe kind of deserve it? Yes, I do. I used to be one of them. I kind of came to the realization that this game was not going to be what it is, like around like patch 1.6, like the first Golden Archipelago, because it was a big major summer event, and I was like, okay, they're gonna do something crazy, right? Like, but it ended up just being like focused on lore, storytelling, and very casual stuff, throwing water balloons at like a wooden board, like sailing on the seas, collecting water balloons, right? Then I started to realize, okay, if this is how they're treating their major summer events, this game probably is just gonna be like this. And I remember one of my first videos came shortly after that talking about this. Nobody gave a shit about what I said until fast forward to the second, like the slow patch of Inazuma was when it really dawned on a lot of people. Listen, many people didn't make it past the slow patches of Inazuma. That's where like the major cutoff was when people really decided to take a stand for it. It was like, you know what, I'm done. And some of them came back in Sumeru, and they're like, but yeah, I just couldn't. I really couldn't be bothered to really get back into it, so they just left. That's just the kind of game it is, my friends. I keep saying this, and I'll continue saying this. You will not survive Genshin Impact if you play it as a main game. If you're a gamer, if you believe yourself as a gamer and you only play Genshin Impact, you will not survive. You have to play Genshin with another game. You have to be playing that other game predominantly, and you check up on Genshin every now and then. That's how you survive Genshin Impact. You cannot survive solely just off of playing this game alone. It does not provide enough entertainment for the Western audience, right? For people in the West, Europe, if you have, let's say, 3 to 4 hours of free time a day, which is very normal for people living in North America and Europe, like 3 to 4 hours is a plenty amount of time to fill up. Some people want to read books, some people want to watch some anime, some people prefer to like binge TV shows, some people like to play video games. If you are the type to like to play video games, predominantly like 80% of your free time is spent playing video games, and you only play Genshin, you will not survive. I'm telling you guys right now, you will not survive this game. And that's what a lot of people took. Like, it took people years to figure this out. Genshin and Diablo 4 done. Perfect. Yeah. Like Genshin plus any other big game that you can play. Like League of Legends. Just using it as an example. Right? League of Legends. Right? You can play Tower Fantasy. You can play, I don't know, what other games are there? Like you can play like multiple side games. Like you can play Nikkei is kind of a side game as well. If you guys know Nikkei, Genshin, and plus another title, right? You can play 2 to 3 side games and mix it with another semi-casual hardcore game, right? Diablo is a good one. Man, well, I can like you can play GTA. I don't know who the fuck still plays GTA these days. But my point is, you need to find something else that you can constantly pour your time into. Working 60 hours a week at your job helps too. Exactly. If you work 60 hours a week, you can always just skip all the boring shit in Genshin and play the best stuff. Come in, spend $200-300 a month, which honestly isn't a lot of money if you're working 60 hours a week. That's like what? Like a day's worth of your paycheck? I don't know. Maybe 2 days of your paycheck. Out of the 30 days, right, of the month you spend on Genshin, 2 days. I mean, if Genshin is like your main source of entertainment, sure. Because if you're working 60 hours a week, you're not doing shit but working. That's all you're doing, right? So you don't have time for anything else. You work, you eat, you sleep, you shit. That's all you do, and you play Genshin when you're on your shit break. That is life, baby. But to do what you got to do, but at the same time you just take some of that paycheck, that fat paycheck that you get, and you put it towards Genshin, and you don't play the boring events. Jason Jin says rewatching good films is my hobby, but we'll start this one. Yeah, I think we all fill our free times differently, right? We all filled our free, like, lost my train of thought. We always fill our free times differently. Oh yeah, and Genshin is designed to take up a very small percentage of that. Fritzky says, I work full-time, do my dailies in Genshin, and just do quest on weekends. Yeah, and I think, look at, I remember when MTash, I believe it was MTash, or was it Techdome? One of them made a video saying like how it's so annoying how Genshin doesn't release all the events in one go, and they do it in phases, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense if you look at it from the perspective of a busy player. Is okay, if I work 40-50 hours a week, or potentially more, will I even have time to grind everything out, right? And their argument is, okay, even if people are busy, you can still unlock everything. So the people who want to play through it can play through it, and the people who don't want to play through it can play whenever they're free. But you see, a problem that creates is, what about the sense of discovering all of that together as one big community, right? So think about when a movie comes out, or a new season of your favorite anime comes out. It's not as fun if, let's say, the West Coast gets it a month, like a week early, then the East Coast gets it a week later, right? And but then Japan got it a month earlier, and then China got it 2 weeks earlier than the West Coast even did. Then everybody's like missing. The hype doesn't really happen globally together, right? When everything is released at once, the floodgates open at the same time, everybody is talking about it. Everybody's excited about it. Like Twitter, you got Reddit, you got like Discord communities. Everybody's collectively getting excited for the same thing, and that momentum is incredibly valuable to Hoyoverse in terms of farming, like for content. Kawataro's Genshin it's not a game for streamers to play and stream for long hours. Yeah, I mean, look at me. I've been streaming Genshin for the last 2 hours. Kazuha hasn't taken a single step. Mr. Clever Tricks. Oh, you mean some gacha games where JP or CN is months ahead of global? Yeah, like how fun are those games? My point is, a lot of people don't even want to play them because, oh, you're just playing the leftovers of what they've already played. You don't get to create your own stuff. You don't get to get excited about new releases. You're constantly looking forward and waiting for something that's months away. You never get to enjoy what's currently available. And even when you get the thing that you originally wanted, waited for months, something in CN comes out that you know you won't be getting for at least 6 more months, right? That kind of thing, you never get to get excited with them. By the time it trickles down to you, it's like you're just playing with their leftovers. So it's like, how is that fun? Right? And that's my point. If Genshin Impact did events and just opened the floodgates from the very beginning, and people who play events midway through the patch, but okay, I have some time now, let's crank out these events. Everything's already done. Nobody's excited for it. Nobody's talking about it anymore. And you're just sitting there truly lamenting in solitude by yourself. That's not the kind of environment Hoyoverse wants to cultivate. Take the Virus says, Walrus, isn't Wuthering Waves casual as well? Hardcore is something like Brew Poker. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, nothing about Wuthering Waves looks casual to me. Let me just find this for you. I don't think. I mean, this game doesn't look casual at all. Just like the combat alone is enough to give you a freaking seizure. Like, I mean, like half of the Genshin player base won't even be able to click the buttons this fast. I mean, so far, I don't see Zhongli in this game. I'm just saying. There isn't Zhongli to save you, at least in this game, as of yet. I just want to see the combat. My God, what is happening? Okay. What are they pressing? Left, right, jump, left click. Oh, okay. Oh, kind of an overkill, but cool.
Something you need.
This definitely looks similar to Tower of Fantasy. But yeah, it's this honestly this looks like a Tower of Fantasy mod. Like even the boxes they open looks like Tower of Fantasy. This kind of looks like a mod for Tower of Fantasy, and it made the game more like HD with better animations. It's like if Tower of Fantasy had the polish of Genshin Impact.
Here, you can't hide from me.
Strike the unpredictable. the unpredictable.
My goodness. The combat is way more flashy than Genshin Impact though. Okay, see, my question is, are they really gonna design a combat system like this and then make it a casual game where you can never use it? That would be a huge middle finger to the player base. That would be a bigger middle finger than what Hoyoverse is, because Hoyoverse never once promised it was gonna be a hardcore game, nor was their game designed to be a hardcore game. But this game prides itself on its complex combat system and like animations. And then if they make you pick berries all day, that would be like getting kicked in the groin and then having your head dunked into the toilet afterwards.
Strike the unpredictable.
Oh my god, that's like Zhao, right? That's like the Zhao of this game. Like, what is going on? Oh, he took a hit. Very cool. I really wish games like these don't have a resin system so we can just farm and grind and just fight all day in this game. Like, I would just love to fight, kill mobs and everything like that. But I know that it probably is very much like Genshin with the resin system. So then you can only play so much per day. Oh no, not the Genshin mint. You got lemongrass just growing out in the, oh no, and then you're gonna cook dishes and stuff like that. Please.
Strike with certainty.
Oh my god. Yes, daddy. Oh, do him dirty like that. Oh, you just one comboed his ass. Woo. Okay. Oh, demonic form. Wait, wasn't this dude just using a jade dragon earlier? Now he turns into a demon? What is this, Zhao in his prime? Wait, he just used that like crazy attack. I thought that was his burst skill, and now and then like some demon comes out, like, oh my god, what is this? And I thought it was that girl's skill, but it turns out, psych, it's your boy Zhao. What the fuck? Yo, I'm pulling for this guy. I don't give a damn. This is like Ziox after puberty. Like, what the?
Most proper for supplies.
Holy smokes, this guy is something. Is something. Holy smokes. It's not all good thing, it's not all women. Exactly. And look, the women aren't even like as revealing as Genshin is. Like, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of how like how lustful they make the women. But damn, that this sequence really did it for me. Wow. I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch this guy go to work again. Come on, show me, daddy. Okay, yeah, that is his burst. Oh. Chef's kiss. Great combat system. Can't wait to play Wuthering Waves. As to how much of Genshin's market space it's gonna capture, I think a decent amount, maybe like 20-30% of the Genshin community at least will try it. Maybe more will try it, but maybe even 30-40% of the player base will try it. Listen, there's not that many good anime RPG games out there. Not that many. Because, but I don't think many people are gonna stay in Wuthering Waves because they've already gotten accustomed to Genshin, like the way of playing Genshin, and Wuthering Waves is just gonna look. I think Wuthering Waves might weigh on people a little too much, especially the visuals and the graphics might feel a little too depressing. Might remind them a little too much of their office cubicle, so they might be like, I prefer the vibrancy of Genshin Impact, which makes me truly feel like I'm transported into a different world. Whereas Punishing Raven and Wuthering Waves might hit a little too close to home to people. Like they might even get into PTSD for like oh my god, I'm coming home to relax, not to get back into my overtime. So yeah, like my point is, it looks kind of depressing. All right, I wish they have areas in Wuthering Waves that looks a little more, vibrant, a little happier, upbeat. But I understand it's the design. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of vibe, being like the world is kind of coming to an end. It's like doom and gloom. So I don't know, but playing in that environment 24/7, I don't know, man. Even Genshin has gloomy places, but they also have extremely vibrant places. So I hope Wuthering Waves does work on their color palette a little bit. Look at this. Like, don't you just looking at this scenery makes your heart feel a little warm, right? So that might be a big issue for a lot of people, is that the game just looks too depressing. But I mean, if you play it in combination with Genshin, then you have no problem. You play like maybe an hour of Wuthering Waves and come back to Genshin and play like 15-20 minutes and feel good about it. Frank Noss says Genshin still has 8 years of life left. Yeah, like I mean, all these titles can go on for a long time. I would even argue Genshin could go on for as long as they want. Think of a game like Maple Story, right? Like how many people here knows Maple Story? Like the game's been around for what, like almost 20 years, like 17, 16 years. It's still going strong. Who's to stop Genshin from going and becoming a live service game for like 15, 20 years? I mean, with that logic, Genshin's colors would also be a problem because they're too colorful or something. Yeah, sometimes people will be like, I hate the world. I need to go in. I need to pretend like I'm in a post-apocalyptic world where I am a handsome, green-haired Asian man with a spear controlling an ethereal jade dragon. Right? Like, if you need that, I mean, we just saw it, right? So, here's the thing. There's something out there for all of us. Sometimes the best of both worlds. My point is, sometimes we can enjoy the best of both worlds, right? When you play Wuthering Waves, it doesn't mean you can't play Genshin. When you play Genshin, doesn't mean you can't play Diablo. When you play Diablo, doesn't mean you can't play League of Legends. When you play League of Legends, doesn't mean you can't play PUBG. When you play PUBG, you get my point. Nothing is stopping you from experiencing all of this stuff. Most of this stuff is free to play as well, right? So go out there, explore, have fun. My point is, it would be such a shame if you just box yourself into one title. I mean, I get it. The devotion, the loyalty is a thing, but let me just ask you a question. If you and $1 million were floating down the river, which one is HoYoverse gonna grab? And let me add, you're screaming for help and the 1 million bag is just chilling on the water. Fuck, forget HoYoverse. Which one would your best friend grab? Right? That's the thing, right? You don't really mean anything to these companies, so you shouldn't really be selling your life to them. People in the water be like, bro, I would grab the 1 million bag and I would just drown with it. Hey, fuck my friend. If he ain't saving me, I'ma just drown myself with $1 million. Taking Taking the virus is so Genshin is shonen and Wuthering Waves is seinen. Yeah, think of it like that. I wouldn't even say Genshin is slice of life, man. Genshin isn't shonen. Genshin is that slice of life anime that you turn on in the background once in a while so you don't feel lonely. God damn it, that felt a little too close to home. Holy shit. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. This is the last stream of Genshin 3.5. I can't wait for 3.6 to start. Need to start farming artifacts. I am banking a lot on those hydro artifacts being useful in Fontaine. If I'm wrong, I'll be incredibly sad. 3.6 comes in on Tuesday, so the next time we stream, we'll be streaming in 3.6. All right. Expect a Nahida video, Nilu video. I'm about to interview a Nilu main who used to be a Eula main. So yeah, people. I'm about to interview a Nilu main who used to be a devoted Eula main. How devoted? I believe they have C6 R5. That's how devoted. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be quite the interview. Hope you guys get excited for that. But yeah, that's all the time we have for today. Like, subscribe if you guys enjoy the content, and I would love for you guys to tune in again. It's been my pleasure to entertain you guys for these short few hours on the weekend, and thank you for devoting your time with me on your precious weekend. I know some of you guys are at your 79, 69 hour work week and you're on your poop break and you're just watching the Walrus talk about random Genshin stuff, but appreciate you nonetheless. All right, thank you guys. Until next time, stay safe. Peace. Oh yeah, happy Easter. Bye.